Hi, Bikash Gurung. Thank you for joining us in our podcast.
Thank you for inviting me in your podcast.
Yeah. To start with, if you could give us a short introduction of yourself.
I'm Bikash Gurung, engineer by academic background, but a passionate internal entrepreneur who wants to bring change in his life as well as in the country.
How long have you been associated with the Robotics Association of Nepal?
I started my journey with Robotics Association of Nepal back in 2012 as a member.
Yeah.
At that time, Robotics Association of Nepal was just started, and they have conducted Yantra as a national robotics competition.
Yeah.
And I was just an engineering student, just a guy who loves to read a lot and then give a better exam, be top.
Yeah.
And then robotics somewhere around kind of dragged me to get into it because it was fun, challenging. There was less of the resources, but still I tried to build robot. My first robot was iron bot, but there was no iron in my bot. So, and then I started engaging myself with the different events of Robotics Association of Nepal, and then I applied as a member. That's how it get along, and now it is.
So you must have seen a lot of change happening in robotics field in Nepal, right? So what do you have to say about the present state of AI and robotics?
It's still in infant stage, though the seed have been implanted, but it hasn't been able to grow how it should have been. But as a Robotics Association of Nepal's president, I definitely see a lot of potential that can be tapped in robotics. When back in 2010-12, you could see a lot of enthusiastic robotics engineers who were trying to build robots, make the robot fight against each other, do different tasks. At that time, it was just a hobby. Now, these robotics engineers, robotics enthusiasts have understand that it can go beyond hobby. We can solve the problems that exist within the country. Robotics and AI is actually the future. That's where the prediction is. And this group of community has understand the value which robotics can bring in. So robotics for now, though being in an infant stage, is growing really fast in Nepal.
I mean, so I'm hearing that the enthusiasm is there, but is the structure there? Like, is the country ready for these enthusiastic people?
Kind of. The country is slowly understanding where the country should have been. The world changed itself within these 2 or 3 decades and rapidly grew itself in a technological world. But Nepal didn't grew that in that way. Nepal actually was happy around its traditions, social structures, how societal values work. They were not able to understand how technology was evolving and how Nepal could adapt to it. But as the technology is changing the way we live our life, slowly the country is understanding it as well. And one of the important aspects of Nepalese culture or Hindu culture is the way we live is based on the scientific method, and it has been always science and technology that was engaged with our life. So basically, since technology is growing up so fast, people are understanding also the science that used to work within our social culture.
Yeah.
So they are trying to adapt their own science with the technological science. So you can see Nepal is trying to grow with the pace, but still it will need a lot of time.
So what do you think are the challenges that is holding Nepal back?
The first and foremost challenge is the understanding of the people about technology. Back in back in 2010, the technological revolution was just growing up, and people were not aware about what implications technology could get into. That's where, like, in this 10 years of time, people are slowly understanding, but hasn't been able to understand in a deeper way the practical values that technology can bring in. So that is one of the challenges. That's where, like, the political transition that Nepal faced, the political leader has not been able to understand the value. So that is one challenge. That's where, like, we could see the implications in the development.
Yeah.
Technology, it's slowly being adapted, but it's still not the priority. Still, government hasn't been able to see how we could adapt to this new high-end tech and then implement in different sectors. We have agriculture, we have tourism, we have manufacturing, but all these sectors hasn't been able to see the values of robotics and AI. So that is one of the challenge. Another is, since we started adapting to this technology slow, there is a lack of resources.
Yeah.
Though there are enthusiastic people who wants to build something, give innovative solutions, they know they can make their hands dirty, but at the end of the day, what a community or what a country need is a product. And the passionate, enthusiastic people has only been able to lift themselves up to the prototype. So product is a different stage. When these enthusiastic people will have the resources. When I talk about resources, it's not about electronic resources or hardware. It's also about the experience. Yeah. The people who has already understood the process of developing new technological products. So that basic resources is lacking. That's where though there has been a lot of effort, we haven't been able to give beautiful, valuable products that the country could see and say, okay, this is innovation that is coming from Nepal. Somewhere around we can see some of the initiatives, but the lack of resources is definitely hampering. Yeah. But soon, with the time, it will recover, and we definitely have a beautiful future.
And what would you say, how is RAN preparing these youth to bring on this future?
RAN, when it started, as I said, it was just a platform for knowledge, technological transfer. Yeah. We were there for just the hobbies to showcase their skill sets. And then during this 10 years of time, what we understood is robotics is not only about hobby. Robotics is not only for entertainment. Robotics is about bringing change to the country. Robotics has that potential. Because when we talk about robotics, it's not only about robot. It's about skill set on computer engineering, electronics engineering, mechanical engineering, all other engineering that involves. So it's about gaining a huge skill set. And when you have a skill set, you have a capacity to solve the challenges that exist. So we understood this, and that's where, like, we are shaping the community towards problem-solving attitude. We are making them understood that they can do the next level work beyond their hobby, beyond their entertainment. So that's where, like, they are getting driven up. And what we are also focusing on is transferring the entrepreneurial mindset. That's the basic thing that will be needed if somebody or someone else want to solve the problem. If you don't have an entrepreneurial mindset, you won't be able to face the risk, face the challenges, face whatever comes in front of you to develop innovative solutions. So that's where our work is on right now, and we are also on a mission of creating robotics industry here in Nepal. So transferring of entrepreneurial mindset means building blocks for creating robotics industry. So entrepreneurial mindset is one thing. Another is we are also trying to open investment opportunity. Like I have a skill set, I can build product, but definitely I want to grow it in a mass scale. And these engineers do not have financial resources. They will need support from private companies, government agencies, development agencies, whoever they are. So we need to make sure that these different groups of people who are driving the economy is also supporting these new enthusiastic people. So that's where like we are trying to work on bringing the investment opportunity. Another thing that is required to take this forward is suitable policies. Like you have an investment opportunity, you have a product, and you want to go on an implementation, but there's a policy that hindrance that create a struggle for them. So that's not going to make it work. And they would try to go forward, but policy will always bring blockades. So we are working with the government so that they could build policy bringing positive changes with the robotics and AI. Definitely there is a negative side as well. So there need to be a controlling mechanism for the negative side. We definitely need to encourage the positive side as well. So these are the three basic focus we have with us right now. The last one is capacity building itself. Like engineering colleges, schools, they have understood we need to change our direction, but they don't know how. So what we are trying to do is go with these education system institutions and engage with the academicians as well as the student. So when we engage with academicians, we try to transfer the value this technology has and how this academic institution could bring innovations to the country. So changing the mindset is important. And when we change the mindset of these academicians and the leaders of this educational institute, they start supporting the innovators. And then we transfer new technological skill set to these innovators so that they could innovate as well. So.
And you've just had Yantra 8.0, right? So what is something that keeps you going, like seeing these enthusiastic individuals come up with new ideas? So do you have any wonderful experiences that you want to share with us?
When you visit Yantra, you could definitely see a lot of passionate, energetic people who has dreams in their eyes, They want to win the competition. They want to show to the world that they have the capacity. They have the knowledge. They can build something and also be at the top. And we always see this charismatic enthusiasm from them. And one of the thing we see on them is to go on an international level. They also want to show to the international community that Nepalese are also good on this technological aspect. And basic platform for them to showcase this is Yantra. And that's where we see it. And one of the driving factor is also to take their dreams in an international level. So that's where you could see we always try to improve Yantra in a more advanced way, more international level, give them the feelings of not a Nepali way, but an international way. So the one thing is that. Another, when we do Yantra, we see there is always a different kind of projects that's coming in. During our Robo Business Cup and Yantra Learning, we see solutions that is ready to go for businesses. We see solutions that is cutting edge. So behind the scene, what we could understand is these young innovators is ready to give valuable solutions to the country. And we need to push them. We need to show them the direction. And Yantra is the platform where we show them the direction. And we are happy that when we do Yantra, people try to adapt to what we do and then implement in their own side. Like whatever happening in Yantra, you could see in different colleges, engineering institutes, IT colleges, even plus two schools. So it get transferred to from one point of Yantra to whole country.
Yeah.
So that is also one of the driving factor. Like we are showing them the direction, and they are following us somewhere around, and we feel proud that we are leading the momentum. So that's why like it keeps us ticking us, get us going.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your views with our podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting. It's always beautiful to share what we love, what we are passionate about, and why we are doing our work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.